To millions of Americans, Andy Griffith was the warm, wise sheriff of Mayberry, a man who represented the very best of small-town values. But the real story of Griffith's life was far more complicated, full of contradictions, struggles, and human flaws. Before we get to the controversies that rippled beneath the surface, we must first understand the man himself, his humble beginnings, his extraordinary rise, and the foundation that shaped his complex character. He was born Andy Samuel Griffith on June 1, 1926, in Mount Airy, North Carolina. His parents, Carl Lee Griffith and Geneva Nunn Griffith, came from working-class backgrounds. Carl labored as a carpenter while Geneva managed the home. The Griffiths lived in modest circumstances, and young Andy's earliest years were shadowed by the hardships of the Great Depression. Growing up, Andy often felt like an outsider. He was thin, shy, and sometimes the subject of teasing. But he discovered an outlet in performance. He loved listening to the radio, where the sounds of swing music, comedy sketches, and dramatic programs carried him away from small-town struggles. By high school, his talent for music had blossomed. Andy learned to sing and play the trombone, and he nurtured a deep love for church hymns and folk music, traditions that would follow him for life. Mount Airy, with its quiet streets and friendly neighbors, left an indelible impression. Decades later, Griffith would recreate this place as the fictional town of Mayberry, immortalizing the rhythms of his youth. Yet as a boy, he longed to broaden his horizons. After graduating from Mount Airy High School, Andy pursued higher education at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. At UNC, Griffith studied music, specializing in voice. He dreamed of becoming an opera singer, but soon discovered his gift for storytelling and comedy. On campus stages, he combined music with humor, performing monologues that poked fun at Southern culture while celebrating it at the same time. These routines, part satire, part charm, caught the attention of audiences and professors alike. One of his early successes was the monologue, "What It Was." Was football, a hilarious piece in which a naive country preacher tries to make sense of America's most popular sport. Released as a recording in 1953, it became a nationwide hit, selling over 800,000 copies. Practically overnight, Andy Griffith went from a small-town music student to a rising star in American comedy. This moment marked the turning point. Griffith had found his voice, not just as a singer or actor, but as a storyteller who could embody the quirks and humor of small-town life. From here, he would step into the worlds of stage, film, and eventually television. And it was there, in the bright glow of Hollywood and the living rooms of millions, that Andy Griffith became a beloved icon. But with fame came scrutiny, and beneath the wholesome image lay tensions and scandals that would later shake the legacy of Mayberry itself. Andy Griffith's career did not begin with a sheriff's badge, but rather on Broadway. After his breakthrough recording, he landed a role in the play No Time for Sergeants in 1955, portraying a naive country boy drafted into the military. The play was a smash hit, earning Griffith glowing reviews. His comedic timing, authenticity, and down-home charm resonated with audiences across the nation. In 1958, the play was adapted into a feature film, further cementing his reputation. This success led Griffith into the world of cinema. He took a darker turn with A Face in the Crowd, 1957, directed by Elia Kazan. Playing the manipulative drifter Larry "Lonesome" Rhodes, Griffith stunned audiences with a performance full of menace and intensity. Critics hailed it as one of the greatest debuts in film history. Though the movie was not an immediate box office hit, its reputation grew over time, and Griffith's versatility as both comedian and dramatic actor was undeniable. Still, television would be his true home. In 1960, The Andy Griffith Show premiered on CBS. Set in the fictional town of Mayberry, the series followed Sheriff Andy Taylor, his bumbling deputy Barney Fife, played by Don Knotts, his son Opie, a young Ron Howard, and his beloved Aunt Bee, portrayed by Frances Bavier. The show's blend of humor, heart, and gentle life lessons captured the imagination of a nation longing for stability during turbulent times. For 8 seasons, from 1960 to 1968, the Andy Griffith Show dominated television. It consistently ranked among the top programs, and Griffith himself became a symbol of wisdom and calm authority. Knotts' comedic brilliance earned multiple Emmy Awards, and Ron Howard's precocious charm launched a lifelong career in Hollywood. The ensemble cast gave Mayberry its warmth, but it was Griffith's steady hand at the center that made the show timeless. Yet, even amid success, challenges emerged. Griffith never won an Emmy for his role, a snub that quietly stung. He also faced tension with castmates. Though he and Don Knotts shared a deep friendship, Griffith's relationship with Frances Bavier was notoriously difficult, marked by on-set arguments. Griffith also grew restless with the limitations of the role. By 1968, weary of being typecast as the small-town sheriff, he left the show. After Mayberry, Griffith pursued varied roles. He starred in the legal drama Matlock, 1986-1995, playing a folksy but shrewd defense attorney. The show brought him a new generation of fans and extended his television legacy. Between these major series, he appeared in numerous TV movies, often portraying fatherly or authoritative figures. Griffith's career was a testament to reinvention. From Broadway comedian to dramatic film actor, from America's sheriff to courtroom lawyer, he constantly shifted personas. Yet, no matter the role, audiences saw the same essence. The down-home storyteller from Mount Airy, a man who carried both charm and complexity. Behind the scenes, however, the picture was not always so idyllic. Away from the spotlight, Andy Griffith's personal life was filled with triumphs and heartbreaks. His first marriage was to Barbara Edwards in 1949, shortly after his college years. Edwards, a fellow performer, supported him during his rise to fame. Together, they adopted 2 children, Andy Samuel Griffith Jr., known as Sam, and Dixie Griffith. For years, the family presented the image of harmony, but the pressures of Hollywood and Griffith's demanding career took their toll. The marriage ended in divorce in 1972. Griffith's relationship with his son Sam was especially complicated. Sam struggled with addiction and legal troubles throughout his life. Tragically, he died in 1996 at the age of 38. This loss deeply affected Griffith, who rarely spoke of it publicly. His daughter Dixie, however, has remembered her father fondly, often describing him as a loving parent, despite his fame. In 1973, Griffith married Greek actress Selika Kasuto, but their relationship was short-lived. After a decade, they divorced quietly in 1981. That same year, Griffith underwent major health challenges, including a battle with Guillain-Barré syndrome, which left him temporarily paralyzed. Through resilience and therapy, he recovered, demonstrating the same perseverance that had defined his career. Griffith found lasting companionship in his third marriage to Cindy Knight, a former teacher and actress whom he wed in 1983. Their union endured until his death, providing him with stability and care in his later years. Knight was often by his side during hospitalizations and public appearances. A loyal partner during his final decades, romantically, Griffith was linked to few others, preferring to keep his private life away from gossip. His friendships, however, were noteworthy. His bond with Don Knotts lasted a lifetime. Though the two sometimes drifted apart, they reunited for projects and maintained mutual admiration until Knotts' death in 2006. Griffith also cherished his relationship with Ron Howard, watching with pride as the boy from Mayberry became one of Hollywood's most respected directors. But not all relationships were smooth. Frances Bavier, Aunt Bee to the world, reportedly left the show with lingering resentments toward Griffith. Though she later attempted reconciliation in her final years, The tension between them reflected the reality that Mayberry's harmony did not always extend off-screen. These personal relationships, marked by marriages, divorces, tragedy, and friendship, revealed Griffith as a man of depth and contradictions. He could be both warm and difficult, devoted and distant. The scandals that would later emerge about Mayberry often sprang not from criminal misdeeds, but from the clashing of personalities and the struggles of maintaining a perfect image in an imperfect world. To millions of viewers, the Andy Griffith Show was the embodiment of innocence. Neighbors helping neighbors, conflicts resolved with wisdom, and a world untouched by the chaos of the 1960s. But behind the scenes, Mayberry was not always so idyllic. One of the most enduring scandals involved tensions among the cast. Frances Bavier, beloved as Aunt Bee, often clashed with Griffith. She found him controlling at times and resented the light-hearted tone that she felt undermined her character. Their arguments created a chill on set that persisted long after the cameras stopped rolling. While the public saw a loving Aunt Bee, the truth was a strained relationship that left scars on both sides. Another controversy surrounded Don Knotts' departure in 1965. Knotts, whose portrayal of Barney Fife earned him 5 Emmy Awards, believed Griffith planned to end the show after 5 seasons. When Griffith decided to continue, Knotts had already signed with Universal Studios. His absence shocked fans and led to whispers of betrayal, though Griffith and Knotts eventually mended their friendship. There were also personal scandals tied to Griffith's own life. His divorce from Barbara Edwards made headlines, challenging the wholesome image of America's favorite sheriff. Rumors swirled about temper flare-ups and controlling behavior, painting a more complex picture of the man behind the badge. Even the set itself was not immune to tragedy. Several supporting actors struggled with personal demons. Jack Burns, who replaced Don Knotts briefly, faced harsh criticism from fans. Others, like Howard McNear, who played Floyd the Barber, battled health problems that affected filming. These struggles, though rarely discussed publicly, cast shadows over the sunny streets of Mayberry. And then there was the broader cultural scandal. As America grappled with civil rights, Vietnam, and generational change, critics accused the Andy Griffith Show of presenting an unrealistic, sanitized vision of small-town life. In a time of upheaval, Mayberry's simplicity felt comforting to some, but dishonest to others. Griffith himself acknowledged this tension, once remarking that the show offered a look back at a time that never really was. For decades, these scandals remained whispers, footnotes to a beloved series. But over time, memoirs, interviews, and retrospectives revealed the complexities beneath the laughter. Now, for the first time, we can see Mayberry not just as a symbol of innocence, but as a reflection of real people with real flaws, trying to create something lasting. The scandals that rocked Mayberry did not destroy its legacy. Rather, they humanized it. They reminded us that even the most perfect television town was built by imperfect people. And in the case of Andy Griffith, they revealed a man who carried both light and shadow, a performer whose greatest role was also his greatest burden. In his later years, Andy Griffith transitioned from the pressures of constant production to a quieter but still meaningful life. After the success of Matlock, he reduced his workload, choosing projects carefully. He appeared in TV movies, gospel recordings, and occasional guest roles, but the frantic pace of earlier decades slowed. Griffith faced ongoing health challenges. In 1983, he was diagnosed with Guillain-Barré syndrome, which left him temporarily paralyzed. He later underwent hip surgery, bypass surgery, and other medical treatments. Through it all, he maintained resilience, often returning to work with the same determination that had defined his rise. In 2005, he received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President George W. Bush, recognizing his contributions to American culture. He also recorded gospel albums, winning a Grammy Award for I Love to Tell the Story, 25 Timeless Hymns in 1997. These projects reflected his deep faith and love of music, passions that had guided him from the beginning. On July 3, 2012, Andy Griffith passed away at his home in Manteo, North Carolina. He was 86 years old. The cause was a heart attack. True to his private nature, he was buried just hours later in a small family cemetery on his estate, avoiding the spectacle of public funerals. His death marked the end of an era, but his legacy was already secure. Today, the Andy Griffith Show continues to air in reruns, beloved by generations who never lived through its original run. Mayberry has become more than a television set. It is a cultural symbol, a shorthand for small-town America, even if it never truly existed. Visitors still flock to Mount Airy, Griffith's hometown, to see the inspiration for Mayberry, walking the streets where the boy from North Carolina once dreamed of a larger world. Andy Griffith's legacy is complex. He was a man of humor, charm, and storytelling genius, but also of flaws, temper, and contradictions. The scandals that rocked Mayberry, conflicts, departures, and disillusionment did not erase his impact. Instead, they revealed him as human. Behind the badge and the smile was a man navigating fame, responsibility, and personal struggle. In the end, Griffith's greatest contribution may not have been the illusion of Mayberry, but the enduring truth that entertainment can bring comfort even in times of turmoil. His show reminded people of community, kindness, and laughter, even if the perfection of Mayberry was unattainable. As we reflect on his story, we see not just the Sheriff of Mayberry, but Andy Griffith himself, a boy from Mount Airy who rose to fame, stumbled through scandal, and left behind a legacy of laughter and lessons. His life was never as simple as Mayberry's front porch, but it was far richer, more complex, and ultimately unforgettable.